Well, good evening, everyone. Are you warm enough? Yeah, it has cooled down a little bit, didn't it? So it'll be nice to have some hot food, won't it? Welcome. This is our last evening for. Are you sad? That's nice. That means you're enjoying it. I'm glad you are. But we'll be back. We'll be back. Is anybody new here? Because I don't want to. Oh, there is. Okay. I might have to repeat myself then. Welcome. And the others that are here from previous times. It's good to see you here. The reason why we are doing this, it's a community service on behalf of Elim Health Center, which is a branch of our church. And we do this quite often because we want you to be healthy and we want you to be happy. If you're healthy, you're happy, aren't you? If you're not healthy, well, it's hard to be happy. We normally have a little segment before the demonstration with different speakers, and tonight will be the same. We managed to bring Dominic down from Wagga, and I want to thank him ahead for making an effort to be here with us tonight. Just to fill you in to the new people, the bathrooms are around the corner. We don't charge for this, of course, but we do appreciate any donation. It does become quite costly, and our treasurer has kind of hit us over the head last week. He said, oh, not enough donations. Well, you can't always have enough. But please, if you feel like giving something towards it, you're very welcome. Books around the corner. There's some free literature also for you. If you'd like to take it, you're very welcome. The little flyers on health. Downstairs we have a little health food store, which is run by Elim. So after the session, you are welcome to come downstairs. And actually, last week she didn't have enough wheat, organic wheat. Okay, so she's got some in. So if you missed out last week, there's plenty downstairs, and I think she brought some up here too, just to remind you that we have it again. So make your way downstairs. Well, without any further ado, I think I'll invite Dominic because he knows that he's got a limited time. And I think it's a very important subject tonight. It's about vitamin B12, especially for vegetarians and vegans. We need to know how to get it. Thank you, Dominic. And again, we appreciate you coming.
Okay. Is that on? Is that on? Yep. Okay. All right, well, welcome everyone, and it's nice to see familiar faces from last time I was here, and new faces, and we hope you'll enjoy the segment here. So Lydia asked me if I could talk about B12 and vegetarianism. We promote vegetarianism. It's the most, I guess, sufficient diet for our time. But when it comes to B12, there's always this stigma attached to vegetarianism. And we're going to try and demystify some of those things this evening. I'll do my best. I have studied a bit of nutrition, but I'm not a health professional, so this is my research that I've done, and by the end of it, I hope that you'll be able to walk out with being more educated about B12 and how it works and why we're deficient and yeah, some of the aspects there. So we'll go into it. Okay, so let's first of all just quickly look at a bit of basic nutrition about B12. Also known as cobalamin is how you'll see it on nutritional analysis on food and supplements. That's how you'll see it. Now, it's a water-soluble vitamin. It's not fat. Okay, so it's the largest and most structurally complex vitamin. And it's themselves. So generally speaking out there, the knowledge is that you get B12 from your meat and your fish and poultry and different things like that. Well, the animals don't actually create it in their own bodies. It's because they eat the roots of the grass where the soil is, and that's what has the B12. So they actually eat a little bit of dirt and they get it. So I'm not suggesting that you have to do that, but believe it or not, some people out there will suggest that you should eat a little bit of dirt, and I don't know, maybe some of it's logical. Necessary. Now, functions. It's very important. Now, this it's so critical, and that's why I want to be careful what information I give to you and not to give you any hocus pocus. I wish I could be a hero tonight and give you such good news about B12 and vegetarianism, but I really can't. But there is enough information that we can make good decisions. So it's an important vitamin, and it's pretty crucial. Predominantly in, well, I think we'll go to the next one, in synthesizing or making red blood cells, and also important for it's pretty important that you have B12 in your system, either enough, whether you need to get it through fortified foods or through supplements. But anyway, it's important because it can cause birth defects for bub when it gets born. That's what's been seen in the medical field. So kids that, when mum doesn't have enough B12 and baby's born without enough B12 in its development, it can have retardation and just other mental disabilities. So it's really, really crucial when it comes to the brain and nervous system. Don't underestimate it. Okay, it's needed to synthesize DNA, hence why you can probably get things like retardation, especially when it sheaths is like it's like the insulation wrapped around the nerve, and that's what makes the nerve transmit its impulses smoothly and effectively. And so if the myelin is damaged and is poor, then your nerve impulses are poor, and it can be linked to many different things like to do with your muscles and tiredness and all sorts of things. That's what MS is. So people will mistaken B12 deficiency for MS, and because it's a very similar problem. It's the breakdown of that insulated part of the nerve. Okay, and it's required for the production of methionine, which is an amino acid, a precursor for S. That makes us feel good. And so if one affects the other, so if you don't have enough B12, which then makes methionine, which then makes SAMe, you understand the chain reaction. If you cut one out, you block the rest, you disturb the rest of the chain reaction, right? So then people will get left, can become depressed from being B12 deficient. and having anxiety and all those other mental illnesses. And it's these methylation reactions that are essential for the myelin maintenance and nerve function. So not only for our feelings and our moods, but also to produce that sheath around the nerve to keep it working properly. Now, health problems that are associated with B12 deficiency. Now, let's look at quickly some of the symptoms: fatigue, lethargy, depression. And they found an improvement in the residents that had Alzheimer's, improvement in their memory. So it's quite crucial, it's really important. Breathlessness, headaches, pale skin. Now the breathlessness and the pale skin would probably be linked to its production of red blood cells. So if you don't have enough oxygen, you're going to feel breathless. Right? And that can be all from a simple deficiency in B12. Obviously, this is what it can do. If you have symptoms like this, you just need to go to a health professional and find out what is the cause. There's many different causes of diseases. So if you do feel like you have some of those symptoms, well, you just got to go check, get your blood test and see if you have enough levels. And diseases, now those symptoms are short term. Now if you can hit it on the head and get on top of it and supplement in some way, then those symptoms will disappear. If you let it go too long, then your long-term problems will lead to pernicious anemia, which is quite nasty, and if you let it go too long, it can have permanent damage. So it's really not something that you want to muck around or let go or ignore. It can lead to Alzheimer's disease, mental illnesses like bipolar, chronic depression, postpartum psychosis. It's very heavily linked to the mind as well, all the nervous system. Chronic fatigue, peripheral neuropathy, which is that myelin sheathing that I was talking about. There's some of the things that it can lead to. Now, causes of deficiency. We sort of get to the meat of this topic. I'll just get myself ready here. Okay. Now, the big question is, are vegetarians more prone to B12 deficiency than meat eaters? The answer for me is yes and no. So, yes, it can be found like that, but not necessarily is that the whole truth. And actually, there was a study done by the Seventh-day Adventist Church here in Australia, in Sydney, and they did a study on 245 ministers. And all those 245 ministers were vegetarians. Some were lacto-ovo vegetarians, which is vegetarians that eat eggs and dairy. And some of them were vegans. So no dairy, no eggs. And they got them to fill out a questionnaire. They took blood samples from them to measure their B12 levels. And they found that 73% of the 245 ministers were below the recommended lower limit of 221 picomole per litre. The mean of the group was 199, and so the lowest limit was 221. So about 73% of those ministers. So that shows that among vegetarians, yes, there is a lack of B12 generally in that group. But it went on, and they continued, and they measured a group of 53 ministers who consumed meat. So these 53 ministers consumed fish, poultry and red meat on a regular basis. And they found that 40% of that group still were B12 deficient. So the result of a study like this then shows that there is still a large deficiency among meat eaters as there are in vegetarians. Yes, it was more so in vegetarians, but still the meat eaters had a large portion deficient. So it's not about always that the B12 is in the food. There's more to it than just that. Now, there's different ways that we can become deficient of B12. Now, the most common way that it's said is not enough intake of B12 in foods. Therefore, go eat more meat or whatever it is, or eggs. But we can become deficient as a result of malabsorption of B12. Certain intestinal disorders like Crohn's disease and other diseases like that of the stomach, they can cause problems for our absorption of not just B12 but other nutrients. Low presence of binding proteins. Use of certain medications can disturb the way we would absorb B12. Stress, which is probably, I reckon, must be the number one killer in our society, is stress. And age. B12 deficiency is more prone as you get older than when you're younger. So for those who are older here, you should be on top of it because like we read before, it leads to things like Alzheimer's and poor memory, so you don't want to neglect your health at whatever stage you're at in your life. Now, medications that can affect something like B12 would be anything that disturbs your stomach and the lining of your stomach. So medications like aspirin or medications for heartburn or ulcers or antacids, that neutralize your gastric acid, that's important to absorb things. Or antibiotics can disturb your absorption, which in the medical field, they pretty much hand out antibiotics like it's lollies. If you got something, it's just bang, straight away, it's an antibiotic. And so this can disrupt our absorption. So the reality is that a meat eater can be just as deficient in B12 as a vegetarian because no matter where the B12 comes from, whether it comes from meat or whether it comes from a fortified food or from eggs, if you can ingest the B12, but if you can't absorb it, it means nothing. You're in the same dilemma. And we talk about antibiotics. A meat eater can get a nice big T-bone steak right in front of him, thinking he's going to get his good serve of B12 out of that, and not realizing that before that cow got slaughtered for that piece of T-bone steak, they would inject it with antibiotics for different things, and then you're eating that. And so will your body have a hard time in absorbing B12 then? Even though you didn't have antibiotics, that animal did. Now, it's not always the case in 100% of the time, but the reality is that that's what happens in commercial farming. So unless you know what you're getting, then that's a possibility. So there's a lot of things that can disturb how we absorb and the function of our body. And like I said, so if your digestive system is impaired in any way, then that will lead to or can lead to deficiency in B12, whether you're a vegetarian or whether you're a meat eater, it doesn't matter. So vegetarians can have just as poor gut health or digestive health as a meat eater too. There are plenty of unhealthy vegetarians. So just because we say the word vegetarian doesn't mean that we imply healthy. Some are not, unfortunately. We here try to encourage you to be healthy vegetarians. We believe that's the best diet given to us. And actually, some in the health field would place the cause of deficiency of B12 more to malabsorption than to intake. Some in the medical field do say that. So, but it's hard. I'm trying to do my best to give you the information because I've tried to dissect it as best as possible. You'll go away and you can look up on Google and you'll just go into this vortex and your head will spin and you don't know what's what and what's truth and what's good and what to believe. One says one thing, one says another thing. It's very difficult to decipher. So I've tried to do it as best as I can for you. Now this is just to give you a bit of a quick analysis of how it works. Now it's going to be hard. You're not going to be able to read those words there if you're toward the middle and back, but that's okay. You don't need to read it. Here is the mouth. Now B12 digestion starts right in your mouth. Proteins and enzymes in your mouth bind to the B12 to make it digestible and assimilated into your body. It starts from your mouth. So last week you were talking about oral health, I believe, and it can be very important. Now the thing is, what happens if your mouth depends on bacteria to create a nice environment to assimilate nutrition from the moment you start chewing? And what happens when you get your Colgate, or whichever it is, on your toothbrush with those chemicals, and it's like an antiseptic and it wipes your mouth spring clean. But it wipes it away with those good bacteria that would help some of those assimilation of those nutrition. See, it gets a bit tricky sometimes. Now, I'm not saying that you can't brush your teeth. I brush my teeth. I just watch out which toothpaste I use, that's all. Very difficult. If it is out there, you've got to really sift and go down deep and try and find it, but it's not easy. Actually, the other day, I was at our friend's place, and they have barley malt extract, and actually on that barley malt extract, it actually advertises on its nutritional analysis that it contains a small amount of B12, cobalamin. And barley malt extract. Yeah, and that's malt. Yeah, barley malt extract. You can buy that from Coles. I think sometimes it's hidden, like it's in the bottom of the shelf. You'd never notice that it was even there, but it is there, and that's got like it's a sweet. It's like an alternative sweetener. So instead of using sugar and honey, you could use that, and it's actually got B complex. It's got a lot of B vitamins from the barley. So whether that's B12 analog or the true one, I don't know, but it says that it has it. So you can only go off if it says that it has it. Again, another one is like yeast flakes. Some people say that yeast has it. Again, I wouldn't tell you that it does unless it says it on its packet. And most of the time, they have to be fortified. It has to be added into it.
So what is the B12 that, the analog? How do you call the other one that has the B12?
Cobalamin.
How do you spell?
C-O-B-A-L-A-M-I-N. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's a bit difficult. Now, if you're vegetarians, generally speaking, you're okay. If you eat eggs and dairy on a regular basis, then you should be okay. But still, it'd do you well to get checked on a regular basis, nonetheless. Everyone should be checked, whether you eat meat or not, doesn't matter. But if you're vegan, it's a bit more tricky. I myself am vegan. Well, I'm not a strict vegan, but I am generally vegan. So sometimes I've had the occasional egg or dairy, but generally speaking, my family are vegan. And it's a little bit trickier for those who are vegan. Pretty much you're dependent, if you want to intake it from a food source, you're dependent on fortified foods, meaning when they add B12 into the soya milk and when they add it into the cereal and different things.
And that's the really B12 that you need.
Yeah, that's what they fortify it with is B12 that your body can assimilate. Yeah, it's similar to what they produce in the laboratories for supplements, and they just put it into the food. So for a vegan, that's what he's dependent on. For vegetarians as well, if you drink soy milk and you have some of those cereals, then that's just an extra way of getting it in.
When you don't eat meat, how many milligrams will be the recommended?
This is in micrograms, I think, and it varies from country to country. UK, it's very small. It's only like 1 microgram a day. Whereas here, I think it's around, if I'm not mistaken, around 3 or more.
That's what we need, everyone needs.
That's what they suggest for society, yeah. Micrograms, yeah. It's only a very small amount. Yeah? Yes? Yeah? Yes? Yes, the water. Yes. You're right. Yes. Yes. I think it's from London or UK as well. Yeah. That's right, yeah. For iron, yeah, that's right. You can buy it in chemists, they buy it in a box, and it's water in a sachet, basically, and you can just drink it. It's like an iron supplement, a natural form of it. Now, to finish off, after foods is supplementation. Now, this is why I'm going to try and give you the information that you can go home with, and it's useful to you. Now, supplementation, if you are going to supplement, which form of B12 is the best, because there's actually different forms. You don't just go out there and buy B12, they're not all the same. So the two main ones of supplements are cyanocobalamin and methylcobalamin. And methylcobalamin is the one that you want to buy. So it's, sorry? So it's cobalamin and methyl is before it. So methyl. It's the group. It's the molecular group that's sort of grouped with it. That's the one that it's most bioavailable for your body. And once you find that it's that form, then I would suggest to you to get a sublingual or chewable tablet. So it's probably better than just oral tablets that you just swallow. They do work, the oral tablets. I mean, there are studies where it has worked on groups, but the most effective is sublingual. So you can get either sprays, and they will spray underneath your tongue, or they come in like tabs, and you can just put it underneath your tongue, or tablets, and they'll just dissolve, or you can chew them. And when it goes through the saliva, then it will they've manufactured it so it will bypass the digestive system and go straight into your bloodstream, which is good news if you are on medication that you can't get off that would affect your stomach and the way you would absorb things. It's good news because you know that by taking that supplement, that will go straight into your bloodstream and bypass your digestive, that whole process with the intrinsic factor and all that. So that's what some of them do. Now you can get B complexes as a multivitamin. If you wanted just a B complex that has B12, that's an easy way, and you're getting other B vitamins, which helps with stress and different moods and different things like that. Or you can just get the isolated B12 supplement. For the B complex, I would recommend companies like Vitamin Code. They're a pretty good company. You can get it from America, and you go on iHerb, and you can get a good price. And we've gotten supplements. My wife's pregnant, and we get the from that company we get the prenatal supplementation, and it's very good. So anyway, they have one for B complex with the B12 with that form. Or if you want to get the isolated one, probably the one that I would recommend first off would be a company called Bioceuticals. They're a good company, and they have good product that are pretty reliable. And you can get that in Rouse Hill, in Old Rouse Hill, with the chemist there sell it. If you go to the town centre and the health shop, they sell it there. They need a practitioner. A practitioner needs to be there to sell it. So you'll find it in some health shops and in chemists. Now that time's pretty much up now. But now they do say, to finish off, they do say that your gut does produce B12. So in your large intestine, it produces B12. But they say it's too far down the chain for it to be absorbed. And that's where it's left. Now for me personally, I don't understand why our body would make it and not be able to absorb it. I think it doesn't make sense. But it's like you hit a wall, the research is not there. It is absorbed, yeah, but it's produced in the large intestine, which is further down. So this is the dilemma. So they don't understand how it would be absorbed when it should be absorbed earlier up in the digestive chain. And so it sort of hits a wall there. So I don't know, but I believe that our body has been created for, to handle things like that. I think just the research is not there yet. But I would think that it's very important to have good gut health. If they produce B12 in the laboratory through fermentation process, through bacteria, my logic is if they produce it in a laboratory like that, why can't it be produced in my body like that? But that's where it goes. So that's my question mark, and I still have to wait for it to be answered. So it's not answered. But that's the information that I can give to you. The main thing is that you need to look after your body, look after your digestive system, look after yourself with your stress levels, and take the supplements. Make sure you monitor your levels, your nutritional levels, And if you're living healthfully and if you look after yourself, you know that your liver's going to store and keep recycling your B12 for 3 to 5 years, you know. And so you only need a supplement maybe once a year, or if that. Yeah.
Supposed to have vitamin C improved with.
Sorry, vitamin.
I've heard that you need vitamin C as well to absorb to go with the B12.
I'm not sure. I haven't come across it, yeah, but possibly. Vitamin C helps with a few things, yeah.
Isn't organic yeast one of the best forms of vitamin C?
Well, there's lots of different claims of which of.
Because that's what the Cancer Foundation put my niece on.
Yeah, meso.
Organic miso, the black one.
Okay. So it's just ladies just saying that she found that the Cancer Foundation put forward that the organic black meso is the highest source of vitamin C. So I don't know. There's different sources. C, vitamin C, yeah. Okay, so I hope that's helped. I hope it's got something for you to go home with and to you can be a bit more educated about it. So thank you.
Thank you, Dominic. Well, it was kind of bordering on being scary, but the idea is to make sure you check. And if you have any of those symptoms that you spoke about, well, make sure you go and check it out, because you don't want to go through all these difficulties. It can be fixed easily. Okay, well, thank you, Dominic. Very much appreciated. And I think, are you ready for some demonstrations? I think the girls are all ready. You have your sheets with you, so you can follow it. And I'll put it in the capable hands. Lydia, you're on.
Why is this here?
We are going to put it underneath
Thank
here.
you. Good evening, everybody. How are you? Bit cooler tonight, I think. Yeah? I think it's a good night for a nice warm stew. But before we do the stew, we're going to share something else with you. Your second recipe, it's the cashew and chives vegan cheese that we're going to do. This is quite an exciting find because it is very healthy for you, and it won't give you a lot of problems, especially if you have allergies, lactose intolerance and things like that. So we're just going to go through fairly quickly tonight so you don't have to stay here all night. But we're going to use as a base, we're going to use some cashews. You're all very familiar with cashews, and I'm using a product called savoury yeast. Who doesn't know what savoury yeast is? Oh, I'm so happy you all know. That's good, that's good.
Some hands up.
Oh, there's a hand there. Savoury yeast is very high in vitamin B12. What's it made from, Rosetta? Yes. I just know it's a very, very good source of vitamin Bs. So it helps you with your nervous system. So anyway, we're going to use that in our cheese tonight as well because it gives it a cheesy flavour. First of all, Rosetta's going to help me with this because, yeah, we've got to get it done in a short time. But when you're at home by yourself, first of all, I'll do everything that goes in the blender, okay? So that it's ready for you when you mix the agar. We're going to use a product called agar. Now, agar it just gels very quickly, and if you leave it too long, it just sets. As it cools down, it sets very quickly. So we're going to have if you're by yourself at home, have your blender with all the things in there, whizzed up and ready to go, and then do your agar. But Rosetta's going to do it tonight. Who's got a mobile phone with a 5-minute time? If you can please put it on. We're going to do this. I'm going to add on your recipe because we're going to do one mix. That's 1 tablespoon of agar powder to 3/4 of a cup of cold water. Now, sometimes I just put that on and let it sit there until I get all my ingredients if I'm on my own. Someone start the timer going, because we're going to boil that for 5 minutes, and you've got to constantly stir. And if you don't tell her when 5 minutes is up, she'll be there all night. And then I'm going to put everything else in our blender, and I'm going to use some hot water. Why I'm using hot water is because when we mix the two together, the agar won't harden up straight away when we mix it. So I'm going to put 1 cup of cashew nuts, a half a cup of the savoury yeast. I'm going to use a whole garlic, 1 garlic, and a medium-sized onion. With the onion, I'll just chop it up in 4 pieces, just to make it easier for the blender to chew it up. Okay, and 3 tablespoons of lemon juice. I've got a teaspoon of salt, and I'm going to make a chive cheese, so I'm going to leave that for last. Remind me to put it in this time. And just a little bit, just a half a teaspoon of maple syrup. That just breaks that hardness of the flavours. And I'm going to put some boiling water. I've boiled the jug before, so it's hot. Okay, you've just reboiled it, that's good. I'm going to put 3/4 of a cup of hot water in here. And this will just make it easier for us. If you have got a Vitamix, it will heat up in the jug anyway. If you don't, when you put your lid on it, just leave the top part opened a little bit so that it won't explode, okay? So I'm going to fasten this. With the Vitamix, they've got the little holes there which the steam come out, so it won't pop up. But if you have an ordinary blender, the hot water will just, it'll explode if you leave it shut. So just leave it up on top of your blender. So we're just going to blend this up. I'm sorry, I'm going to cause some noise here again. I'm a bit noisy, I know. I love making noise. And this will just blend nice and smooth. Start it off slowly and then I'll turn it up. Now, if you were home, that would be sitting ready while you're stirring away. So I'm lucky tonight because Rosetta's here and she's being the stirrer. But while she's doing that, I'll get the next tray ready for you to see. It's basically the same recipe except we're going to do it a bit more spicy. And it's going to be a smoked type flavour, your cheese. So I'll just get it ready and then I've used, how are we going for time? How much time do we have? A minute to go? 50 seconds to go? Can everyone start counting? I won't make you do that.
It's bubbling like crazy here and it's getting thick. The agar is getting sort of thick and it's bubbling away like crazy. So that's.
Can you hear Rosetta? It's bubbling like crazy and it's getting very thick. So, 30 seconds to go. This is the one with the chives. Now you don't have to put the chives in. You can have a plain cheese if you want to. You can put some bits of sun-dried tomatoes in if you like, or you can just create your olives. You could have olives. Create your own flavours. So we had some plain yesterday and they all really enjoyed it. And then we did the chives and they enjoyed that too. So,
Ready?
ready, yay. Now we're going to pour this into it. How about if we move this? Okay. And as you pour it, you just got to mix it quickly. So if you were doing it yourself, you wouldn't be able to scrape it, but it'll just run out.
It won't set straight away because it's warm.
Because
as
they're
well.
both hot.
It needs to cool down a bit.
Oops. Before we put that in, we'll put our chives in. We start them young here. An apprentice is nearly 2.
Okay, we've just added the chives.
We've just added the chives into it, and now we're going to pour it into our mould. You can have a round mould, a square mould, whatever mould you like. You can do small little ones, individual ones if you want to. And by the end of the evening, you'll see that this is already starting to harden because as it cools, it hardens up. So it takes a couple of hours for it to actually get hard enough for you to, yep. Okay, there we go. So the same principle goes for the spicy one, the smoked cheese. Except I'm using smoked paprika, which will give that flavour, special flavour. It doesn't stay very long. You usually eat it fairly quick, but about 3 or 4 days. I wouldn't keep it more than about 5 days, that's max, I think, yeah. Because it's always nice to have it fresh, to use it fresh. Yes, so we're doing the same again. We've put our tablespoon of agar-agar and agar-agar powder. If you are using the agar-agar flakes, you have to put twice as much. The powder is twice as hardening.
Another timer, thank you.
Okay, timer set again, please.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm not going to worry about washing the blender because we're just going to, basically, this will taste similar if it wasn't for the extra things. So I will start off with a cup of cashews, a half a cup of savoury yeast. I'm going to put my smoked paprika, about a tablespoon. And I'm going to put maple syrup. I'm putting twice as much maple syrup for this one, because it's got a lot more flavours in, okay? So I'm putting a whole tablespoon. Now it's up to you how much cayenne you put in. I'm putting about a quarter of a teaspoon. The same with turmeric. And lemon juice. I won't put onion in this one because I wanted the onion for the chives for the flavour, but I will put the garlic, 1 clove of garlic. And salt, well, I've got a teaspoon, but you can put extra if you think that you'll need extra. And again, we whiz all this up with 1 cup of the, 3/4 of a cup of the hot water, the boiling water. So just use your imagination, what flavours you like and what you'd like to create. So basically you've got the base of it, the cashews, the savoury yeast, the lemon juice, the salt, the garlic, and then you just create whatever flavours you want. How was it? Nice? Does it resemble cheese or is it pate or something? Yeah? That's good. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Which one did you like there? The chive? Smoked? I love the smoked one.
No, I haven't used gelatin. No. Gelatin is a vegetarian form of a setting agent. It's called gel, J-E-L, -in, gelatine. So we use that for puddings and different things like that, but I haven't tried it with this, no. Okay, I'm going to be noisy again, sorry. You'll notice this one will be a little bit thicker because of all the powders that we've put in extra, okay? And there is no onion, so therefore onion is a bit juicy as well, which made it a bit softer. So this one's going to be a little bit thicker. How are we going for time? Who's timing? A minute to go? That's good, that's good. I don't know whether this is already starting to harden. Yeah, a little bit. So by the time we finish, you'll be able to see it. It comes off the side of the paper. Once you've made it, I wouldn't leave it more than 5 days maximum. Yeah. It won't last that long, no, because this is the full mix, okay? That's exactly what you've got on your recipe sheet. So if you want twice as much as that, you've got to do it twice as much. But this is one amount. So that you'd probably go through that, I don't know, 3 days or something, or maybe 1 day, depends. Depends if you've got growing boys and growing children, or whether you just, yes. The agar-agar powder, you can buy them in any of the health food stores. We've got some downstairs in our health food store as well. So yes, but if you can't get it down here, any of the health food stores should stock it. Yeah. Agar-agar comes in the flake as well as the powder. The powder you always have to use half of the amount that you would if it was flake. Time, beautiful. Okay, jump in on the other side. Okay, here we go. Ready? Yep. If you're by yourself, it's okay because I would put it in, I'd mix it as I'd pour it, and then hoping it wasn't set before I can scrape it out. But, I mean, I've done all the ones at home by myself, so it's still okay because you've got it warm in the blender. Because of the hot water, it won't cool off so quickly. If you put cold water in the blender, it would probably, like you have little lumps. The agar-agar will gel as you pour it into the mixture into it. So that's why it's best to have a hot water, and then once it's hot, it gives you extra time to play with it. Okay. Yep.
Okay, that's it.
That's it. That's so easy. There we go. I'll leave it here and you can have a look at it. Now we'll go straight on to our stew. Because it's winter, it's nice to have something warm and something substantial to eat. That's your first recipe on your sheet. And this time we're going to do a stew out of all your root vegetables. So you've got, you want mama? Off you go. He wants his mama. That's okay. Okay, tell me some of the root vegetables that you know. Carrots, parsnip, turnips, Swedes. What's the difference between a Swede and a turnip? Okay, we've got a turnip and a Swede here. The turnip is the lighter colour, it's white inside, and the Swede is yellow inside. So that's the difference between a turnip and a Swede, but they're from the same family. So, yeah, I'll show you in a minute. Just had water in my vegetables so they don't go black. Okay. Go. Okay, I've got here some turnips and I've got Swedes, and that's your difference, okay? But they're very, very similar, actually. So, you'll probably say, yuck, I don't like the flavour and the taste of it. And the same with the parsnip. A lot of people are not really keen on parsnips. But in a stew, it really makes it. It really does. So just taking the water out of these parsnips as well. Now you can put other vegetables in it, but I'm going to just use mainly root. I am using like garlic and well, garlic is a root, but it's not it is a vegetable, but it's a condiment. But I'm going to use some celery, which is not a root, but practically everything else is a root. What, sorry? Oh, the onion? Oh, I don't know. A medium's sort of about that size. A large is probably about that size. It doesn't matter if you put 1, 2, or 3, or 4, it doesn't matter. Yeah. So if you want to use them all, which I'm going to do for this batch, I've got turnips, I've got Swede, and I've got parsnips. So I've got one of each. But you can just, if you don't like one of them, you can leave it out. It won't matter too much. Okay, I'm going to put 1/4 cup of oil of your choice. You can have any oil you like. And I'm going to saute some onion. Grandma? Thank you, darling. Thank you.
Oh, he's such a beautiful.
Thank you. It's okay. Where's Mama? Yeah. Look. Yes, look here.
What's going on? You got help. Yeah.
You help pick it up. Here, darling.
Pick it up. You got help pick it up.
Okay. Okay, I'll saute the onion. I guess all this makes it more exciting, doesn't it? It makes it real. It doesn't make it... Okay. I'm using today, again, the Marcel product. This one is a liquid stock. And again, it is 100% vegetarian and vegan product, okay? So I'm using that as a stock for our stew tonight. I'm also using chickpeas. Now remember what I did last week? Save the water, okay? You can, yes, aquafaba, you freeze it. I usually like to reduce it first and freeze it ready to be used when you want to use. Okay, so I'm going to saute my onions and garlic. And then I'm going to put all my condiments or whatever all your bits and pieces that I'm putting in here. I'm using cumin, and I'm using some, what else am I using? Cumin and some cayenne pepper. What else did I put in there? Oh, your favourite one, coriander and ginger. Okay. And I'll just let this all infuse for about a minute. I haven't used that one. No, this is cayenne, so I only put a little bit in. So coriander. I love coriander, but a lot of my family doesn't like coriander. I would have liked coriander leaves through that stew. That's me. And a little bit of cayenne. Cayenne pepper is actually very good for you. It's not an irritant, not like the normal black peppers. They irritate your stomach, but cayenne pepper is medicinal. It's very good. Now that that's, and ginger, just let that all infuse for a minute and just add the rest of your vegetables. The only thing I won't add straight away is asparagus, only for the fact that asparagus is nice even raw. So you only put it in at the last minute and give it like 2 minutes and then it's ready, okay? So that's the only thing I'm not going to put in the asparagus, but the rest I'll just keep adding to it. And the longer you cook it, the more the flavours will infuse and you'll get that lovely, lovely flavour. I might put all my root, these other ones first. Now when you're doing this at home, cut it chunky because that will allow for the cooking to take longer. Over here we had a lot of it that just kind of melted because it was a bit too small. We're trying to do it so that you could have it in your little cups. And, but it was very, when you've got a bigger chunk, it just takes longer and it gives it time to just get that lovely flavour. So, like I would possibly cut, let me see if I have a piece, probably twice as that, and then you know it'll just take longer to cook, but it'll get all those beautiful flavours in there. Okay, here's a good piece. Okay, I'll put some salt. Now always taste your food. You may not want to put extra, you may not want to put the stock powder in if you think that's enough salt in it, or you may want to do it. So always taste your food to see if you're happy with it. Okay, it's at a heaped tablespoon, so I'll just go about that much for now. And then later on, if I need some more, then we can just put some more in. And this will cook now. If you have a slow cooker, okay, yeah, what you do is you get up to this stage where I am now, mix everything together, then transfer it to your slow cooker, and then you leave it on for 4 hours or whatever time you've got, so on low. You can put it on when you go to work and then come home in the evening and it's ready. So that's the beauty. Yeah. Now I would probably cook all the vegetables. That amount that I have on your recipe is quite a big amount. If you live on your own, you might want to halve it or third it actually, because this is a good family pot. So now I won't put the chickpeas until it's probably cooked about halfway, and then add the chickpeas on. If you are doing it in your slow cooker, in your slow cooker you can just do it straight away, but it means that the chickpeas will be really extra soft. But that's okay too, it's nice. Okay, I put a litre of this. I'll leave that here too. Okay, that's probably all we can do for the time being. I won't tilt that too much, but you've got some beautiful colours all happening here. So if you just let that simmer for about an hour and a half, or probably an hour, check it, put your chickpeas in, and then later on when it's nearly ready, come back and put your asparagus about 2 minutes before you want to eat it. So that would be nice. Any questions? There's not much to ask about this one, is it? It's very practical, very quick and easy. Okay, so we'll leave those here. Dominic.
Because these are all bruises that are in the ground. Does that mean that people don't wash it when they rub it against some
I'm sorry, I did wash them very well. So I've missed all the vitamin B12, have I? Oh, okay. A lid. Sorry. Okay. That will just cook there now, nice and... Okay, yes, we will. And we're going to go on to... How are we going for time? I haven't got my watch on. 20 minutes. Oh, that's not too bad. We're going to go over the page to our last recipe, and that's a banana crumble cake. Okay. Yum. Who doesn't like bananas? I'm an odd person because I don't like bananas when they're raw, but I love bananas when they're cooked. So I'm really weird. But yes. So we're going to just do this crumble. It's a very, very quick and easy cake to do. What we're going to do, we're going to put all our dry ingredients together. So I'm going to add, oops, I better not use that spoon. I'm going to add some flour. On your recipe, you've got 1.5 cups of flour, 1.5 cups of corn flour. That's plain flour, all-purpose plain flour, okay, that you've got. If you want to use whole grain flour, you can. If you mill your own, it's actually really good because you can get it really fine, and it's almost like the all-purpose flour that you have. And I'm using a sugar. It's a coconut sugar. Have you ever had that? Yes, good. Okay. And you can buy it from Coles, Woolies, where the sugars are sold. So I'm putting equal portions of all of these, 1.5 cups of each of these. I'm doing a half mix, okay? This is going to be half of the amount that you will have on your recipe. So I'm halving everything. So mix all the dry ingredients, and I'm putting, on your recipe it says 1 tablespoon of cinnamon and 1 tablespoon of teaspoon, I beg your pardon, 1 teaspoon of nutmeg, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. I'm having half here in this mix. And also coconut. On your recipe it says 1/2 cup. And also I'm using a baking powder which has no aluminium in it. You can buy them from a health food store. We do have some downstairs as well, which won't damage your organs. So I've put all that in, mixed it all together. Now when that's all mixed, as so, okay, I'm going to just add the oil into it, and that will make it crumble. I'm using a light oil, so don't use like a virgin olive oil or anything like that because it won't taste so nice. Although some people prefer it, they like that flavour. But I'm using, you can sunflower oil or something, or even a very light olive oil. You can use that if you want to. If you don't mind, I'm going to get on with my fingers. But before I do that actually, bananas. Now, This one is probably a better one to eat. Once it starts getting brown spots and things, it's better to have them like that. And when you peel them, they're nice and white. For this recipe, you use 10 bananas, depending on the size, but about this size, you use about 10. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it in half that way. I think Rosetta's gone to get me a plate. Rosetta's here. And half across this way. So just go through and cut them like that, all of them. Just pop that there for a minute so that you can layer the bananas. So I'll just keep doing that. If you want to be creative, yeah, you can slice them all and put all the slices down, but this is a lot quicker. So somebody was saying to me, oh, why don't we slice them and put... I said, it's too much trouble.
Sorry.
So that's okay, no problem.
Do you want me to do
So,
that? You do
yeah.
this.
And what we are doing really, that's all we're doing. We're going to layer the bananas and layer the crumble. That's all we're doing. So I'll get into this crumble with my fingers. Crumble it all up. Joe, can you see this? You can't see it, can you? All this stove. No, I can't touch it. I was going to pull it back. You can see it now? Okay, because we are putting this on YouTube, and if people can't see what I'm doing, then it's a bit hard. Just crumble that up. Now I'm going to put a third of this mixture on the bottom of the tray. Okay. So, okay. So I divide that into 3, so I'll pick up about a third, put it on the bottom of the tray. I forgot to spray the tray, but give it a little bit of light oil spray. This won't matter, it's just that when you get it out, it's easier if you do spray it. If you want to scoop it out with a spoon, that's okay, it won't matter. And then layer, I'll move this cheese on this side, yep, so you can see what I'm doing. Layer of bananas across your crumb. Now the reason we are having a dry crumb like that is because it's easier to, the bananas won't sink to the bottom as you layer them. You've got the crumb mixture in between. So, okay, now I'm going to do whatever you've got left over, half of that again on top of these bananas. And if it's not exactly half, that's all right. Okay, and your bananas again. See what I mean? If you had all little round circles, you'd be going like this, and you'd never get the job done. So, yeah, this is quicker and easier and faster, and everybody's going to be happy because Mum will be available for a play quicker than... Okay. Oops. And then just top it up with the rest of your crumble. Now you can use dates in here if you don't want to use coconut sugar, you can use dates, okay? If you want to sweeten it yourself with some dates, or if you want to sweeten it with any other form of sweetening, you can do that. Now to make all this emulsify, we're just going to use 1.5 cups of soy milk and one teaspoon of vanilla. I like extract, I don't like vanilla essence. Vanilla essence is a bit fake for me. So just mix that in with your milk and just gently pour it on top of your crumble. Use the spoon to guide you so that it doesn't just go everywhere. Okay. Now that's all it is. That's it. And you just pop that in the oven now for about 40 minutes and check to see when it's golden brown and you think it looks nice and it smells delicious as it cooks. That's your banana crumble. You can, definitely. Yeah, it's beautiful with apricots. Absolutely beautiful with apricots. So, yeah. But that's our crumble. This is still cooking away. You won't see the end of this one tonight unless you want to stay back for a couple of hours. So, thank you everyone for coming again and for your support and for being here. Thank you. I hope you really enjoy doing some of these recipes at home. And I hope they haven't been too hard for you to follow. That's good.
Well, the samples are still coming, so I'm not going to disturb you very much, but enjoy it. While you're eating, I'll just let you know that we do have our services on Saturdays. Our main service is at 11 o'clock. You're very welcome to come and stay for lunch, because every Saturday we have a potluck lunch. So you get a huge variety because everybody makes something different. So don't be shy. If you're around, just come and see us and join us with lunch. Well, don't forget our Elim Health shop downstairs. Elim wants me to mention the wheat again. If you missed out last week, we got it in. And breeze through and have a look what we have. Thank you for your donations. Thank you for supporting us, and thank you for being here.
I'm going to wash my hands.
Hello.
I love it.
Hello, everybody. Now, I'll wait till you finish, and then we'll close with prayer too. But any questions, please ask. When is the next one? The next one will be on the other half of the year. So you didn't talk about it yet. September, October. And we got your details, and we normally let you know. Okay, so. Any? Wenterville, I'm not sure. They're struggling a little bit with manpower at the moment, but we'll see how they go, and we'll let you know too, yes. Good. Well, I hope you do it at home, experiment, and tell us next time when we see you how you went.
You can always drop us a line.
Yeah, that's it. Have a look at the YouTube too, because there are sessions from last, I don't know how many years. They should be on there. If you just go, it's a YouTube, and if you put Schofield Church, it'll come up. Okay, and then you choose what you want out of there. But anyway, I can see that you are still eating.
How did you go? Did you enjoy it? You can actually have that pot with some custard, if you like. Oh, the lemon juice at the end of it. I didn't explain about that. I said there's a wedge of lemon. Just squirt a bit of lemon on top. And I think what they did in the kitchen is they put a little bit of lemon on top before you received it. So you didn't have the wedge, but they've just put the lemon juice. So if you like, you try it without it and see what you think. But it does make a difference with that lemon. It's really nice.
Okay, well, look, I'll ask you to bow your heads, and let's thank the Lord for the good times that we had. Loving Heavenly Father, we are thankful that we had this opportunity to share different things that are good for our health and our strength. Bless each person that is present here, and especially be with them as they travel back home, and help us all to learn more day by day, that we become healthy and happy people, that we might bless others too with our company and our presence. We thank you for everything that you have done. In Jesus' name, amen. So thank you, girls. We appreciate your work too, work that's happening there in behind. And yes, it's a little beehive there. starts in the morning and they go shopping, they come here and they start cooking because it's quite a bit of food preparation.
Our rubbish bin's coming. Just
You don't have to take it home. And don't forget your vitamin B. It's very important. Thank you.